Okay, it is time for Tao of the Day. I am here with you. I'm Martin John, and I want to help you figure out just how, like give you a meditation for the day. And the Tao translates to the canon of reason. The Tao Te Ching is a ancient text that we look to explore the ideas of living a reasonable life. So the Tao of the Tao Te Ching translates to the canon of reason, and what we want to do with it today and Monday through Friday, I want to come on and take a number from you between 1 and 81, and I want to read you your Tao of the day. I'll take any number between 1 and 81, and we'll go through that chapter. So there are 8 chapters, or 81 chapters of the Tao Te Ching, and each one of them helps us express or look at a certain aspect of how to live a reasonable life. And so if nobody comes up, I will, of course, chime in and pick a number for myself. But if you have a number that is burning inside of you and you'd like to talk about the Tao, come on up and give me that number, and then we'll chat about it. We'll go through it. We'll look at how it may be relating to your life right now. We try not to get too personal because everyone's got their own thing going on. But I would love to chat with you about the Tao. So if you, once again, for those who are just joining, if you don't know what the Tao is, it translates as the canon of reason. It's an ancient Chinese text written by Lao Tzu, and every verse of the Tao, and there are 81, which is why you would pick a number between 1 and 81, relates to a different aspect of trying to live a reasonable life. So if you have a number that's burning inside of you, hit that little join button, and then we'll have a discussion about it. If nobody joins in the next minute or so, I will go ahead and pick one and just start going through it. I'm going to see what number kind of pops out to me at the moment. I've been actually seeing fours a lot recently, like the 4-4 or 444 or 4444. I've been seeing a lot of fours, so I think I'm going to kind of choose 44. And there's 4 people on right now. There's just too much is leaning towards the 4s that I really want to pick 44. So since no one has come up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read 44. Okay. Fame or integrity? Which is more important? Money or happiness? Which is more valuable? Success or failure? Which is more destructive? If you look to others for fulfillment, you will never be truly fulfilled. If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. So this is beautiful, right? Like, how can anybody not like this verse? 44. Thank you to all of my angel guides and all those things everyone wants to point to for me seeing that. I've seen 4s all weekend. I've seen 4s for, I don't know, probably for the last 5 or 6 days. 4s have just been popping up in my life in all sorts of ways, and we're gonna go through this chapter line by line now. Baby duck. Catherine's on. Catherine, my buddy, she's coming on. We'll come back to 44, definitely. I want to go through this, but Catherine, what's going on?
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I like the 44.
Yeah. Want to go through it with me?
Yes.
Okay. Fame or integrity? Which is more important? These first 3 lines of this are so poignant, and the first time I read them blew my mind. Like here we are in a world that is looking for fame, right? But then we read this sentence, and it's impossible not to know the right answer here, right? Fame or integrity, which is more important?
Yeah, it struck me like really, I realized just how different the world is and how people look at it, because I was talking to a young woman the other day, and she was saying it was so hard for me because there was no one on TV for me to be my role model on television. I was like, Margaret Thatcher was my role model. She wasn't on TV much.
Right.
It just such a different way of looking at things. I never thought that you role modeled yourself after TV characters or actors. It just
Well, what a weird, like, I'm being shocked just to hear this. Like, when I was a kid, like, the question of who's your hero stumped me because I was like, nobody. Like, me? I was so
yes.
confused as the idea of, like, who the fuck needs to see a role model? Like, it is in you.
Yeah, but but then if you imagine that so many people look at the the television screen or the movie screen for the role models.
And I have realized that if I did have a hero as a kid, it was Popeye.
Oh,
Like,
I loved Popeye.
yeah, I am what I am, right?
Hmm.
And since my MS, my entire diet consists of greens. So I think I knew something as a child that maybe I. That's crazy. So the next line, money or happiness, which is more valuable? Look at how he kind of like utilizes these words, right? So this translation is Stephen Mitchell, but like fame or integrity, which is more important? Right? He utilizes the word important for that because it's like if you look at those two things, just like no, you know what, my integrity is more important than me hawking my name and my face for some T-shirt, right? Like money or happiness, which is more valuable, right? Because we look at things like what can you buy with money, but then what can you have with happiness? Oh my God, like so beautiful.
Well, it's also interesting because value when I explain value to people, I'm like, what your values are. I'm like, values can be your family, your friend, your pet, your this or that. It doesn't have to represent money.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it has like value has so little to do with money. I actually like, in the
Mm-hmm.
work that I do, I have a sliding scale that actually I'm working on like getting rid of the top end of my value scale and say, okay, well, at some point, it's just 3% of what you earn. The idea
Mm-hmm.
being that the value, like what I give you actually has no value in the world, but it is priceless to you, right?
Well, it does
I,
have value in the world because
no, it
the
doesn't. It doesn't
more,
because it doesn't have it. Like I don't see it having value in the world, like to anyone else. What I give you doesn't have value to anybody else, but what I give you. If I say I can help you lose weight, that has value in the world. If I say I can help you gain money, that has value in the world. What I say is I can help you find yourself in the world outside of you. That has no value. You can make that valuable in your life, but that is not something that is marketable in terms of value because it is not something. It is beyond the manifestation of stuff. And so that's why like this like money or happiness, which is more valuable? Happiness is more valuable by by universes. Like if you have happiness, then there's no requirement for money.
yeah, and I guess what I was saying was it does have value in the world because the more people that are happy with who they are, just as who they are, the better the world becomes.
Right, but that's not that you're right. But that's not a monetary value. And that's why I guess I was looking at monetary specifically. It doesn't have monetary value in the world, right? Like it
Yeah,
has value to the world. And you have value to the system of mankind, not to the
right,
system of the market.
right.
Yeah. Success or failure, which is more destructive? Again, what a great use of this like descriptive word, right? Like destructive, success or failure.
Yeah, and some people are actually more afraid of success than they are of failure.
Yeah, and this isn't even talking about fear, it's talking about destruction.
Yeah, but that's the fear is a destructive emotion. It
True.
causes self-sabotage.
Right, yeah. And like people can get so comfortable in that in that role. And I mean, I look at this and it's really kind of clear for me that, like, success, like if we look at the success of the Sackler family, we look at their success and like how much destruction was in the wake of the Sacklers' decision to like prioritize profits over health, right? And prioritize profits over honesty,
Hmm.
right? So like that success, like the destruction in the wake of that, the destruction in the wake of so much success in the 21st century, right? Like all of the successes in the 21st century have led to, whatever it is we're facing in front of us, whether that be opioid crises or global warming or climate change or whatever. All of these sorts of things that we look at could be tracked back to a success. And that's why I really like these first three lines: fame or integrity, which is more important; money or happiness, which is more valuable; success or failure, which is more destructive. If you look to others for fulfillment, you will never truly be fulfilled. You and I know about this real well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and that is a really interesting one too.
Yeah. Like
It
where
it's
is your fulfillment
yeah, and it's
coming
it's
from? Yeah.
one that, it's like that whole fame thing. It's kind of a little over my head. I'm like, wow, really? You value it's I was talking about that the other night with my mom, was how people are so interested in having the cool kids, which often are the mean girls, like them so much that they'll turn against those that are really their friends and support them and fulfilling. But somehow the fulfillment is is so empty or so desperate that you're willing to do things to sacrifice yourself,
Yeah.
your integrity.
What's great about this, and I don't know if I've seen it this way before, but like this second verse like relates so much back to the first. Because if you look to others for fulfillment, so like you say, the popular girls, fame or integrity, which is more important?
Yep.
Now it goes back to this, right? Like just what you said, like you are looking
Same.
for fame rather than your own personal integrity. Someone who
Yeah.
cares for you, someone that lifts you up, not beats you down, right? Like you're looking for fame rather than integrity.
Hmm.
If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself.
Or value,
Yeah. Like you
because
won't you won't see your value because
yes.
you're pitting your value against your money or whatever. Or if your happiness depends on this thing, then you
Yeah.
are you are looking it to the other side of that, right?
Yeah,
Like
seeing
you're
seen as a higher value person because of,
right.
yeah.
And that has everything to do with your happiness, right? Like like
Hmm.
money or happiness, which is more valuable? If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. You will never see your true value.
Hmm.
Oh man, this is so good. I'm getting goosebumps. Um, be content with what you have and rejoice in the way things are. Now this brings us like back to a grounding space. This is being like, hey, look, wanting to be, in the group of cool kids, wanting to be in the, amongst the crowd of the mean girls or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like that is like you want to rejoice in who you are with integrity.
Yes. And trying to be, which is what we've become, the role model that's on TV, the girl who we perceive who has it all, the guy who's the most successful, the person on
Yeah,
television, the one that's interviewed, the one that the news tells us to, emulate.
right. The ones that have fame, money, and success outwardly.
Yes. Yes. And how we leave ourselves completely behind when we do that. It's like the emptiness that is left from that.
And this is so like, like again, goosebumps. I This is why I call my podcast Recover Yourself. Because it's like you are integrity, happiness, and ultimately like we are each failures. Like in order to grow, in order to embrace who we are, we have to experience failure. This idea that we won't, or this idea that success is the only way forward, or the only way that I'll truly love myself, or whatever, is such a lie. Like that we are so that we are swimming in that it's like there's no way. Like you can't tell someone, hey, embrace your failures. Because people are going to be like, no, you got to be a success and you got to go make a lot of money and you got to do all these things, right? Like, it's like, what? Like, those things come from failures.
Yeah, what? But the if when you talk to business people and leaders, they will
You mean
talk
people who
about
have
it.
fame, money, and success?
A lot of them will talk about the failure as being a role in it. I
Right.
think that, yeah, the
Yeah,
difference.
of course they will. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
when you and I, or like people that don't have, I don't know where you are, but people who, like, I mean, I grew up pretty poor, in an apartment in the city. My parents were 16 and 17 when they had my sister, and then a year later they had me, like, I mean, I grew up against it more or less. Like, the people that are talking to me are just telling me to not experience failure, right? Like, that this is how you become a success. Even on Wisdom now, so many people are out there telling you this is how you hack cryptocurrency, and this is how you have all your success and all this. It's just like, man, a lot of snake oil out there.
yeah. I guess I that just doesn't show up. Like I don't hear it.
Yeah. Oh, that's
I don't
good.
know how to explain that, but like it's like it sounds like
Well, that's just that's mindset and how we see things in the world. Like you
yeah. For
perceive the
me, it's
world
like
from your
Charlie
place.
Brown parents talking.
It's what?
Charlie Brown's parents talking.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
know,
That's how I experienced it as well. I mean,
but
I
like
can't
it
compare it.
doesn't really register for me that that's what's happening, and I appreciate hearing that that's how it comes off to you because
Right.
I don't really I don't even think to stop to even like it just doesn't register for me. I'm like, oh look, there's a black flip.
Yeah, that's about as quick as I do it. I just like I look at the title and I'm like, yeah, this doesn't have anything to resonate. This doesn't have anything for me here. Like this space of like, you know,
Yeah.
like toxic positivity, as they might put it, or whatever.
Well,
When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. And that's a great way of ending this.
I think that's exactly what we're saying is, when you realize that you don't have to follow everybody's little footsteps and match yourself exactly into their pattern or
And in your words, like when you realize you're sovereign,
yeah.
because that's when you realize you have nothing lacking, because you yourself are sovereign.
Yeah. It makes me, I mean, this is a silly, ridiculous example, but it does make me think of I was shopping for a new coat years ago. And the gal in the shop, there was a nice, pretty red coat. And I was like, oh, I like everybody wears black, whatever. I'm like, get it. And the girl comes up and she's like, oh, this is the most popular coat everybody's buying this year. And I was like, ew, I don't want to buy that.
Catherine, you just got cut off. If you want to come out and again, of course, yeah, there you are. But if you can hear me, oh my God, yes. Like stepping away from the popular one is my go-to. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting to me because I never realized that that's what there was a selling pitch before. And I was like, ooh, that's like, I'm like, well, I hope you don't say that to everyone. How are you going to sell any coats? And then she's like, oh, everyone's buying it. I was like, that's why. I'm like, well, I definitely won't buy a red coat this year. But it
Right.
is interesting. Like you even said, the hack, everybody's following Instagram. Instagram's the hot new thing. We're all going to be doing this. It's like, then I'm like, ooh, I don't want to do Instagram. But it is this interesting thing. And I think these verses are so key as reminders that as individuals we forge our own path, and that is what makes the red coat exist. It is what
That's right.
allows all these different things to exist because someone forged their own path and created a red coat. Doesn't mean we all have to wear it.
Right.
You know what I
And
mean?
and and oh, I absolutely know. And when you are guided by your integrity, when you are driven by happiness, and when you learn to fail productively, you are going to make that red coat. You are going to change the field. You're going to change the perceptions of others. And the thing is sometimes people just go ahead and instead of trying to find their own way, they'd rather buy a red coat.
Yeah. Yes. And we've gotten into such a bad space for that.
I agree. I agree. We have gotten comfortable finding our answers outside of ourselves.
Yes.
Catherine, it is
Yes.
always so great to share a Tao with you. I love you, and I'm so glad that we get to do this.
Me too. I'm glad I caught you.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes we don't catch each other, and I always miss you. Should be said.
Oh, warms the cockles of my heart.
All right. Well, you have, until we speak again, have a wonderful day. I'm going to see if anyone else wants to come on. There is somebody here. That's great. I'm going to take the next.
All
Brooke
right,
is
send
with
me
me.
love,
All
my
right.
friend.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Brooke, as we know, because I am Martin, right? Brooke, how are
Exactly
you?
that.
How are you?
Oh my gosh, I am well. Yeah, it's November 1st. I don't know. That's exciting. I don't know why. Time's an illusion, but still.
That is, yeah. Look at you. Like, yes, absolutely. Time is an illusion, and I'm glad to have you here. Yes, November 1st. Yeah, that means like I don't know. Like for some, it's like All Saints Day. I think
Oh,
that's
okay.
something. I don't
Was that
know.
some sort of thing to combat what they had decided Halloween meant, or
Yeah, I well
neat?
actually all of those things I think are they're pagan based. So like
Yeah,
I think like you celebrate the dead and then you celebrate new
the
life, and
living. Yeah.
we're in like in the northern hemisphere, we're in the we're in the autumn, and we're going into a new full moon phase, and
Yep.
all sorts of wonderful, all sorts of, this is a lot of good energy going on.
I agree, but I always kind of feel like coming up to, so it's funny, I kind of accidentally fell into understanding astrology through my scientific work, where I would look at the lunar pole and be like, so you're telling me this large gravitational rock in the sky can affect the water like this? And then I was like, oh, wow, that's weird. Well, I guess the earth is 75% water. And then I thought, humans are 75% water. And then I
Right.
thought, oh, nerd, what does that mean? And this is
Yeah.
years ago. And then I started to notice that, whenever you get kind of lost, you could just literally watch the way nature evolves, and just the way it like does rest, it does hibernation, it does summer and creation. It's interesting how many very obvious, not even complicated clues to like how to treat your body exist inside nature. If you just like kind of look at that, Earth is literally just a biological material organism with layered functionalities all the way down to its core, and then has some periphery things to think about too. So anyway, yeah, so I think this is an interesting time of year, and I always love coming up to a new moon because I just think I'm now fascinated by how large gravitational rocks in the atmosphere affect beings of water. So I'm just in a great mood.
Just a little bit, yeah. Like that is
I mean,
awesome.
not to
I'm really
take you deep into the wildlands, but I just am like, yeah, that's cool.
yeah. No, I'm down. Like I'm a big fan of the moon. She's my mistress,
That's the best
and
thing. Put that on a mug. I'm a big
no,
fan of the moon.
it's true. I have no like I I love her. She's gorgeous every day. Um, so do you have a number between 1 and 81?
Yes. The number's 43.
43. Oh wow, I just did 44. So let's just go
Really?
back. Yeah, that was the one that I just read. 43.
Neat.
The gentlest thing in the world overcomes the hardest thing in the world. That which has no substance enters where there is no space. This shows the value of non-action. Teaching without words, performing without action. That is the master's way. Okay, so let's go through this. That's a beautiful one. Thoughts initially?
Well, just that there are no coincidences, and
No,
yeah, and there really are not, and that is area, this neutral gin, this space of observation and inaction is one is a I recognize that everything exists in me, and that some muscles, for the sake of this conversation, I've exercised and others I have not. But it doesn't mean I don't have them. It just means that they haven't seen any court time. So
That's right. That's right.
So this is an interesting moment to hear that, because this is a theme that appears for me where my life has always been like, what will I do? What will I do? And it's almost always spawned from like, well, this fear of doing nothing will cause something I don't want to happen. And so it causes me to do something, when what I've been finding in this homelessness, in this now like life slowly coming together, is it's not been from massive effort. It's been from massive observation and stillness. And so It's just interesting to hear that gentleness will always overcome, because if I can be honest with you, Martin, I had started to think, is it just me, or is this just like happening from my still, gentle heart somehow, in a way that there aren't words that could explain it, but if you'd been watching it, you would see it.
Right. And that's the thing, like observation and awareness of being observant, right? Like not just like, I'm just going to sit here and watch TV. No, I'm going to sit here, like literally sit here.
Like be here.
Be here in my body right now. And I'm going to connect with my body right now. And like that, that coming together of like your heart and mind is such a beautiful sort of space for us to work. And when I say work, it's like you are working on the big picture. You're not just like, I was talking with Catherine a little bit ago about the manifestation, right? The manifestation is you are homeless, right? Or I think you're a basement dweller now. Is that still
Yes,
true?
I'm a basement dweller.
Okay.
I'm moving up in the world, Martine. Come on.
I'm really happy for you,
Thank
especially
you.
as we move into October in the Northern Hemisphere. So, or move out of October in the Northern Hemisphere. So I'm really glad that you have that.
I'll have to send you a picture, by the way, because it is quite frankly a bohemian like love den. It's amazing. I'm very happy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think I saw a picture. I don't know if it was on Instagram or something of your space. So I'm really glad. I've
been streaming some of my things so people can see that.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, like in this space of being still, when and I'm a four walls believer, right? Like 4 walls changes your perception, like to box yourself into quietness when you're out and you're homeless, like
yes,
truly out on the street. That is, I did that for a short time, and that changes how you see yourself, how you see the world, and you're always just trying to find that privacy, right? That's
the thing that's taken. There's a lot that people have been afraid for in my situation, and I kept kind of expressing, I was like, there's only one thing I don't have now, and it's privacy. Like I am protected. I can create my container.
Yep.
I can create my sovereignty, but I lack privacy.
Right. And that's and that it doesn't take long for that to get to you. It doesn't take long for that to really drive you to a point. And that's where homelessness and like I hate to use the word like crazy, but going crazy or going to a place where you cannot think clearly is so real. Like it is.
It's a thin line.
Yeah, it is a very thin line, and it can get crossed at any moment. You could be, college educated, and you can have all of these things, and to lack your privacy, to lack that ability to think without influence is so maddening, that you could lose sight of reality so quickly. And so I'm really glad that you have some of that now, because that is something that, when I reached that point, there was nothing I like. If I would have gone over that point when I was struggling with that, like it, I could have never come back. But like as
Right.
soon as I saw it, I was like, no, no matter what, I need privacy tonight.
Right.
And to find that was something that was really just gave me like a pat on the back and said, yeah, you can keep going. Because sometimes when you can't keep going, and that's the thing, the gentlest thing in the world overcomes the hardest. And when you're out on the street, that's hard. And all you need is that gentle awareness that you are here.
Yes.
And being able to encapsulate that, or to be able to close that in within the four walls that you have, I'm super grateful for that.
Thank you.
That which has no substance enters where there is no space. Thoughts on that line?
I think that was really, so what's interesting about that is I find a lot of peace in knowing that everything is inherently empty and it's what we make it. And so I find this idea of completeness really a way to be uprooted and startled by how impossible the term completeness is, and that it's like everything in its place, and the rigidity that comes with this idea of fullness, because again, that which is formless can
Right.
seep in, and then all of a sudden, are you exploding? Like, what have you done when you've kind of created this idea that your container has everything it needs and can take no more, it needs no more, no one is to disturb it? When you this idea of stasis, of
Yeah.
static, it's just it also, similar to having no form at all, having no four walls, it also, there's just, I feel like my life requires fluidity.
Yeah.
I think
And
all
like,
life probably does, but I know mine, I can only really speak for how
you,
I
of
choose
course.
to show up in the world. Yes.
Yeah. And as soon as, and when we talk about substance, I like to think about the idea of identity, right? When you have an
Yeah.
identity, there are places where you cannot go because your identity keeps you from there. But when you can lose the identity, when you can lose the substance of what you are, you can enter into a third grade class and do what is necessary at that moment. You can enter where there is no space, because before, when you had identity, you enter a third grade class and you say, what can I do here? I'm nothing I can do here. But you can be
Right.
of service by not having an identity, by not
Mm,
believing you are something more than a being that is connected to all of these other beings, right? Like
right.
you can enter where there is no space. You can communicate to someone who is closed off because you are open to releasing your identity to the moment.
Right.
And this shows the value of non-action of like not defining, right? Not defining what's the right answer right now. What defining
Yeah.
just being in the space of like, this is the right answer because it's what I'm being called to be.
Right. Resisting the urge to button everything up and make sense of everything. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, just kind of being here in the present, like not having to judge it, not having to take action.
Yeah, that's so funny because I find myself that I feel the most well when I find myself in circumstances and my reaction is, and that's really it. Like,
Yeah.
interesting.
Curious. Like I
I
like
guess
to use the word curious. Like if you can get
yeah, like,
curious about something, you're halfway home. I said get curious, not furious.
yeah,
So
yeah,
teaching without words, performing without actions. That
yes,
is the master's way.
yes,
We can be inspirations to so many people without having to tell them what to do.
yes, yes. It's, in this moment, I feel like you brought up the third grade and I immediately was like, yeah, sharing, but not sharing from force and not sharing things. It's just
Or obligations.
sharing life, like
Yeah.
sharing life through the lens, sharing when called to share, withholding sharing if it will disrupt a person's ability to tap into self-love, like just sharing. I think maybe sharing, we got really focused in our childhood about sharing is giving something away, when it's not. It's just being around others, because that's gives people a look at what being looks like.
You know, like children, like really, really young children, they will share instinctively.
Right.
And then when they have been taught there is lack,
Right.
sharing becomes an act of, they resist sharing
It's a
because,
sacrifice.
right.
And I don't think sharing
And
and
like,
sacrifice are related in the way that we were taught they were.
yeah, well, I mean, we were taught they were. I
Right,
don't know.
exactly.
I don't. Yeah, like those are like those like, and well, let me. I'd like to rephrase that. I like to say in the way that we learned,
That's true.
because maybe we weren't actually taught that, but maybe we picked it up. Maybe some
That's a
people were
good point.
directly taught that, but what they learned, I was taught chemistry. I didn't learn any of it. Right. So it's
Yeah, we're
important to
taught a lot.
understand.
We learn a little.
Right, and we learn things that we were never taught. And we
Yes.
teach things that maybe were never learned, will never get learned.
Oh, I love that.
So that's why we teach without words and we perform without actions.
I love
Brooke,
that.
it is always great to connect with you. I'm so happy to hear about your
Yes.
situation, and much love to you as we move forward. I look forward to connect. Man, it's always great to have Brooke on. She's insightful, and I'm really glad to have had her on. If you have a number between 1 and 81 that you would like to share with me and the Tao, I would love to chat with you. We did 40, 44, 43. Is there anyone out there 42 going once, going twice? No. Okay. But no, I'm so thrilled to be able to present the Tao of the day with each and every one of you. I hope you guys are going out and exploring the Tao for yourself. Here's the thing. We could look at these verses and get confused because they're highfalutin, right? They're like big ideas. But when we break it down and we start kind of conversing about them and having conversations about them, especially with other people, we can really embrace like the meaning of these things, right? Like there's absolutely no way. I'm saying the word right a lot. And I don't want to do that. I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday about that idea of like filler words. And I use like and I use right and I use a lot of words. And I think what I want to try and do is just leave more space. Leave more space to allow inspiration to come rather than filling that and keeping me in a space of perpetual motion. I want to be able to communicate to you. I don't want to talk at you so much. So yeah, the Tao. In today's Taos, we talked about quite a bit. We talked about integrity and happiness. We talked about failure and how to be a productive failure. And on Sundays, I speak with Paul from My Perfect Failure podcast. And we talk a lot about the idea of failing and the idea that society wants us to do things that may be against our nature. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing, Martin?
I am doing very well. How
So,
do I pronounce your name?
Bhupinder?
Bhupinder?
Yeah, you got it.
Beautiful. Bhupinder, thank you for joining me. I've heard you speak a number of times. I don't know that I think we've connected before, but I would love to go through the Tao with you. I think you'd be someone perfect to go through one of these together with.
Yeah, we can do that. And first off, I have seen you around so many times, but somehow I could not connect with you. And when I saw you online, I had the 100% intention. I need to get up here. First off, I like to say thank you you for being who you are, because some of the things you talk about, they're very simple, but there is a lot of churning behind some of the words you share here. So I want to bring that to everyone's attention. And it's not easy to say a lot of things publicly and say that with ease. Like you just said something which was perform without action, teach without any words. To me, that means a lot.
Yes, yes. Like there's depth in that for each and every one of us to explore. That is not, there is no easy way to understand that as a standard, because
Correct.
each of us are going to approach that from where we are and as we are differently.
And that's like defining my own coordinates, knowing where I stand today. And
Yes,
that,
at this moment.
at this moment, and when I come back to the same words tomorrow, I might get a different meaning from the same words,
Yes,
different meaning from the same situation, different meaning from the same conversation.
absolutely. Yeah, there's a growth to everything at every moment, and you may wake up and be a completely different person.
Yes.
The problem is most people have their lives set up to remind themselves of who they were yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that first thing in the morning, you may never check in to who you are today.
Yes.
Too busy reminding yourself of who you were yesterday. And let's just keep this show on the road.
And Martin, what we're saying, I think, as you said, let's walk this further. So what I heard you say, again, this is a perfect example of teaching without words. You just said something, but this is the meaning I received. What I received is we need to be present. What that means is keep checking my present coordinates and accept where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And not strive to be what I was yesterday or what I want to be tomorrow.
Right.
And then we are present.
That's right. And you know what? When tomorrow comes, if we're present, we'll be who we are tomorrow without
Yes,
having to have done anything to force that today.
correct.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh man, this is gonna be fun. Let's pick a number. What do you got?
I don't know. 44?
Oh, so I chose 44
Oh, you did
earlier.
already?
Yeah. But I want to read through it again because it is a
Sure.
beautiful verse. And it's one that, and so fours have been popping up in my life everywhere. If you follow like angel numbers or things like that, like I've been seeing fours everywhere. When I chose this number, there were four people on, and this was the reason that I picked it. So you are already in tune. Like you and I, we're brothers, right? Like you already feel like what I'm feeling. So like you picked 44. That's kind of how I'm gonna claim that. Fame or integrity, which is more important? Money or happiness, which is more valuable? Success or failure, which is more destructive? If you look to others for fulfillment, you will never be truly fulfilled. If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Talk to me. What do you think?
Wow. Wow. This is like a book of wisdom.
It is. It is a book. Like if you don't know the Tao Te Ching, go out and get yourself a pocket-sized book and pick
Yeah.
numbers every day. This will change your life.
The reason I say that is it's like I'm speaking. So this is what I picked from this. And what we're saying is, what is more important, integrity or fame?
Yes.
And from integrity comes fame.
Yes.
From fame does not come integrity. So the roots are integrity, and fame is a byproduct. What does being integrity means, which goes back to my integrity. Again, I'm defining this for me.
Yes, that's I would always take that as a standard.
Correct. So my integrity is to be happy, period. No conditions. If my happiness is dependent on, say, my fame, my fortune, acceptability by other people, I will be turbulent.
Yes.
I'll be like someone who does not have something in the house. So instead of growing that in my own house, I'm trying to find that from somewhere else.
Yes.
And if someone gives me happiness, for example, someone approaches me and they treat me with respect, I'll be happy. But tomorrow they could come back and give the same respect to someone else right next to me, and then I might feel they're taking away the respect from me and my happiness will evaporate.
Yes.
To have integrity is to believe in myself. And I'm actually happiness. And when I say I'm actually happiness means if I am present, I'm enough.
Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. That's beautiful.
And that connects back to what you said. I believe in inspiring, not helping. Inspiring means let me become what I'm telling you to be. And then if it resonates with you, you might ask me, Bhupinder, how are you smiling all the time? What's the secret? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, someone did ask me once. I'm an engineer also.
Mm-hmm.
And we work in a very fast-paced environment and all the deadlines and stuff. Not one, but multiple people. So this guy comes to me, Bhupinder, you are smiling. It was more of a question mark. Why are you smiling?
Yes.
I said, your question tells me a lot. You're telling me that through these ups and downs, through these problems, we're not supposed to smile. I'm going to ask you the other way around. Our default state is happy. I'm going to ask you, why are you leaving your default state? Give me a reason.
Yeah.
So happiness is our true state of being. And when we move away from it, we are not present. If we are anything other than happy, and that happiness is just our presence, which means I need to know who I am. Not the way Martin sees me, not the way some other person defined me, because they were all defined through their glasses of their thoughts or conditioning, like they're looking at me through a cloud.
Mm-hmm.
With due respect, I'm not saying what they're saying is wrong or right. That's their truth.
Right. Absolutely. Like you're not judging them. You're just
No.
saying you're just helping them become aware that, hey, you have made a choice. Are you aware of the choice that you have made?
Yes.
And when we go to this next stanza where it says, if you look to others for fulfillment, you will never be truly fulfilled. Even this person that asked you about, like, why are you smiling? He's looking to you to help him understand maybe how to do this. But the thing is you don't have that answer.
They already have the answer.
They have it, right. And the thing is when they look to others, if your happiness depends on money, if your happiness depends on other people, if your happiness depends on anything, you will never be happy with yourself. And the thing is we have all of the answers that we need within us, and we have been coaxed away from trusting that we have that answer. And when we talk, and this is why, I'm coming out of addiction and recovery, and my podcast entitled Recover Yourself. That's what this is speaking of. It's saying, hey, you have to recover yourself. You can't Google your happiness.
Mm-hmm. You cannot Google your happiness.
You can't just be like, what's going to make me happy?
Circle these words.
Yeah.
You cannot Google your happiness. So let me, just to amplify what you're saying, And this is the beauty, Martin. I call it we raising our frequencies
Yes.
when we resonate with each other in terms of the thoughts we carry. And what you're saying, I'm just going to expand that. I talk about until and unless I don't know who I am, I'm living in a dark place. So what that really means is if I don't light up my own house, and I light up the city, I light up the community, I light up the whole world, I'm carrying the darkness with me all the time. But if I light up my house first, then for me, the whole world is lit up because no matter where I go, there is light.
Yes. And when you light your house, your neighbor is going to figure out how to light theirs.
Yes.
But
Inspired.
when you sit there and you go to your neighbor's house and go, "Let me light your house up for you," they're going to be like, "Great," but it's dark again.
Start kicking.
And that's what so many people, therapists and coaches and other individuals, that's the problem they run into is they get these codependent sort of relationships with helping people keep their light on.
This is big what you're saying, Martin. I'm going to speak from my experience. I used to be part of a healers group, 30 different people with different modalities. The one question I used to ask is, if you're a good mechanic, you expect the car to keep up coming back to you 30 days a week?
Right.
They didn't like me for that.
That's right.
But then when it becomes a business, I call it empowering people. I rather teach you how you take care of yourself, then you don't have to come back to me.
I do not want my clients coming back to me. I don't. Like, I have a bad business model. I see my clients 4 times in 1 month, and I say, you can come back in a year if you want to.
Yep, they probably like this dude. There's something wrong with this dude.
And well, everyone in the business does, but everybody else, no one has come back. I've had people gone like 3 years. They got rid of cancer. They lost weight. Their lives are much better, and they're just living their life now. That's what I want for you. I want you to live your life. If you're sitting here trying to recover all the time, if you're sitting here trying to heal from your life, then the life you're living is hurting you.
Yeah, so this is the enabler for what you're doing. Unless I am not healed, how can I heal someone else?
Right. And so many people are getting their value from healing other people.
Yeah.
And their value has to come from them.
The healer has to heal himself or herself first. And the way I look at this, if I'm healing someone, it's actually I'm healing myself through that process,
right.
through that
Because
phenomenon.
there is nobody else.
There is nobody else.
Like you and I are here, you are a reflection of me, I am a reflection of you, and I get to learn from this experience for myself. What I say and what you hear don't have anything to do with one another. We're here together as one.
Yes. Man.
And from different perspectives. I'm one for you and you're one for me, and that's it.
Because we are saying, I am not this thought. Martin is saying, I am not this thought. We will put these thoughts together and let's see what comes out of this.
44 is what's just today's cherry. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm really glad we got a chance to Tao together. What a beautiful talk. Thank you. Oh, that's exciting. I can't express how exciting that was. Oh, Inma. Abstract artist Inma. She's making really great stuff. Check her out on Instagram. Inma, how are you?
Hi, Martin. It's great to be here with you.
It's always
How are
so
you?
nice. I am doing very well. And yourself?
I'm good. I'm now here in the car, waiting to pick up my kids that will leave in 15 minutes. So
Okay.
I'll just spend this time.
Pick a number.
13.
13. Lucky number 13. Oh, we're talking about success and failure today quite a bit, and this one is in line with that as well. Success is as dangerous as failure. Hope is as hollow as fear. What does it mean that success is as dangerous as failure? Whether you go up or down the ladder, your position is always shaky. When you stand up with your own 2 feet on the ground, you will always keep your balance. What does it mean that hope is as hollow as fear? Hope and fear are both phantoms. They arise from thinking of the self. When we don't see the self as self, what do we have to fear? See the world as yourself. Have faith in the way things are. Love the world as yourself. Then you can care for all things. So we'll take a deep
It's
breath
amazing.
and we'll just start with these first 2 lines. Success is as dangerous as failure and hope is as hollow as fear. What are your thoughts there?
My thought is that, especially with success and failure, I couldn't agree more. The hope and fear, I still don't fully assimilate it,
Yeah.
but with success and failure, I fully agree with it.
Okay, so I'll take a shot at hope and fear. Hope and fear don't exist, right? Like hope and fear are those things that are in our minds, right? We can hope for something, but no action is being taken toward it. Right? We can hope that this is going to go well. We can hope that I'll make money, or we can hope that something happens, but it is the other side of fear, right? Just like fear doesn't exist, neither does hope, right? It's just the positive emotion of fear, and they're both
Now,
phantoms.
now I feel it also in my body, in the sense that if I'm here in the present, there is no hope and there is no fear, right?
Right. You
There's
don't
such
need
a
it because you're
solution.
here.
Yeah, yeah,
That's beautiful.
yeah.
So then it says, what does it mean that success is as dangerous as failure? When we go up or down the ladder, your position is shaky, right?
Mm,
Every time you have to go up the ladder, you're on one foot.
mm,
You know, like and the higher you go, they say the higher you go, the further it is to fall.
mm. I'm laughing because in my TEDx talk I use the ladder, and now I can So it's I love this part. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you stand with your 2 feet on the ground, you will always keep your balance.
Oh. Yes.
So
Yeah.
this is being grounded, right? This is being who you are in the present.
Mm.
Like you're like, I don't have to go up or down the ladder. Like I can stand here and be
Isn't it
still.
isn't it wonderful? We don't need to go up or down.
No, we
We can
don't.
just
Like
be.
we can just
Yeah.
be here and we can pick up our kids and we can do all of the little things that we have to do, but we can just be who we are.
Yeah.
And that's been such a good theme for today. Just like be you and the
Mm.
self. Like who
Mm.
like but not defining the self, like allowing the self to grow and change and evolve. Just like
Mm.
just like a painting, right? Like you put something down and you respond to it.
Yes.
And then you
Yes.
respond to that. And then you have something completely different and you look at it and it tells
Yeah.
you about yourself
Yeah.
and you communicate just in that moment.
Yes. Yes. Completely.
Mm.
Mm.
So hope and fear are both phantoms, like I mentioned earlier, and they arise from thinking of the self,
Mm.
right? This is you separate.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. And that continue. I will
No?
bring.
Okay. When we don't see the self as self, what do we have to fear? And this
Yeah.
is our self, right? Our self is an identity. Our self is who we are determined to be, who we're
Yeah.
determined to be seen as. Like even me, like I'm in recovery. I have all of these rules about who I am. And my hope is that people will understand my message. But if I could get to a place where I could leave behind the fact that I have a message at all,
Mm.
and I
How
can just
powerful.
I can just be present with who I am in this moment and act as I am drawn, then I can leave the self behind. And then, wow, like you said, how powerful it is to not have an identity to live up to every day.
Yeah, yeah. And this is fascinating because the reason why I wanted to talk to you today and get your wisdom on the Tao is because I thought I want a message for this part of the year, from Samhain to the solstice, this dark
Yeah.
part of the year, and where I put my energy and where shall I. So this is just brilliant. I put my energy nowhere. I just
That's
stay.
right. Right. Because the more you if you're putting your energy into something,
Yeah,
then, and right now, like as we move into autumn and winter, it's like, because you're in the northern hemisphere still, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Um, that's about reserving our energy, but not trying to protect it,
yeah.
right? It's like we don't want to hide away. We want to rest, but we want to
Mm,
rest in a space that we don't have to define. We can just be present in this moment without
mm,
having to be like, I hope the future has, or I'm afraid the future has something for us,
mm.
right? Because, go on, please.
No, I feel my core kind of vibrating almost. My
Yeah.
body is telling me that's the truth. Listen, but don't listen just with your head. Just fully
Yes.
listen.
Yes, I'm a firm believer that we have brains in our gut and heart, and we do scientifically, but our gut is always talking to us in a very quiet way, and our heart
Mm.
is communicating with us in a very loving way, and our head is always yelling, and it's saying, listen to this, I got something to say, da 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 da, and if we
Yeah,
can calm our brain, then we can
yeah,
hear our heart and gut, and we can, and that's what this is, because our brain creates fear and our
yeah,
brain creates hope. But
yeah,
our heart and gut all know that we are being held, we are
yeah,
being loved, and we are enough.
yeah. How beautiful. Mm.
See the world as yourself. Have faith in the way things are. That's beautiful, right? Have
Wow.
faith. Have faith in what is. Even if, I talked to someone earlier and she was homeless, right? And she has faith in the fact that she's there.
Mm,
She has faith in the fact that this is still part of the plan. It is not wrong. She
mm.
has to keep her wits about her, and she has to make sure. And she's currently living in a basement, so that's wonderful. But all of that is like having faith in the way that things are right now. Like you have a moment to connect with me while waiting for your
Yes.
children. Like that's just, it will happen. You don't have to hope it happens. You don't have to be like, I hope this happens, because if it does, it is
Yeah,
perfect right now
yeah,
as it is.
yeah.
Love the
Completely.
world as yourself, and you
Oh,
can care for all things.
oh. That's amazing. That reminds me to that quote that I think I shared with you once, that don't try to change the world, but try to change the love you feel for the world.
Yes. Like when you can love the world, when you can love everything in the world and everything that takes place as yourself, and just say, I love you. Just present it and say, I love you. Even if you don't prefer it, because
Yeah,
it still requires your love to be
yeah,
embraced.
yeah, yeah. Melting love.
Yes. And when you do that, there's never too many things, like we can love everything and there is no lack of love.
Mm,
When we get angry, sometimes we want to withhold our love,
mm.
but it is our love that brings energy to the world and brings all of that into focus.
Yeah, completely.
Mm.
Wow, how wonderful.
It's always so wonderful to talk with you. I've been following you on Instagram. Your paintings are beautiful.
Thank you.
It's really wonderful to be connected. As an artist myself, I just want to, just, it's not easy to continue making work and just to
Yeah,
keep doing it. But I'm
yeah,
really glad that you're making such beautiful work and doing and following your path, because
Yeah,
we need that. We need Inma making artwork in the world.
thank you. Actually, I pressed to join you like 45 minutes ago or something like that, and then I felt like, no, now I need to concentrate on creating something. So
Yes.
then I left, and now it was, what do I do? Do I join? Oh, it would be great if Martin is there. And boom,
Mm,
as you said, faith, if it's meant to be, it will be.
yeah.
But, but I had a wonderful play with Gesso, and yeah, so my hands are dirty and my heart is full. And
Oh,
now even more
there's
full.
nothing better than that. Nothing better
Yeah,
than that. That is so
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Well, Inma, have a wonderful rest of your day. My
Thank
best
you.
to your
You
children
too.
and yourself, and we will connect again.
Yes, thank you, Martin, for all the wisdom, joy, and yes, the wisdom that you bring to all of us.
Yes, and thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining.
Bye, Martin.
Oh. So wonderful, so wonderful. Everybody that has joined today has been able to share, and we've talked all about the self, and we've talked about success and failure and money and happiness and all of the great things that are out in the world for us, and what that means and what it means to just embrace and be still and allow those things. You know, I've said it a number of times before, but receiving should be an Olympic sport, and we need to practice receiving. And I hope you get to practice a little receiving today. All right. I'm Martin John, your host. This has been a Recover Yourself production. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.